This video is sponsored by Mass Zymes by Bioptimizers. People don't want to be millionaires, they want to experience what they believe only millions can buy. $1 million in the bank isn't the fantasy is the lifestyle of complete freedom it supposedly allows. The question then becomes, how can I achieve $1 million lifestyle without actually having $1 million in the bank? This question by Tim Ferriss, how can I achieve the lifestyle I want without actually having like that monetary goal, has really changed my life. It has really changed my understanding of like what I want to do with my journey towards death. And that's because my original mindset, I would argue maybe it's the mindset really preached by South Asian culture in general, is you should sacrifice now in order to have fun later. But this devolves to a point where you're just always sacrificing and you're almost like mentally enjoying the fact that you're gonna have fun later. But you look back and you reach a certain age and you've never had the fun. You've never actually done the living. You've just always been doing the building up and the investing in yourself. And so it's important to ask yourself questions like, why do I want to hit a certain goal? Maybe a certain financial goal, or in fitness, like why do I want to look a certain way or feel a certain way before I can start enjoying myself? Ideally, what it is that you're chasing your goals. You're chasing what you want to be doing. And at the same time, you're like enjoying yourself. Like the fun is built into the work. And Tim Ferriss is one of the best examples of this. I mean, the man now has like a net worth of $100 million. His podcast is one of the first to have over 100 million downloads. I can't even say that out loud because it sounds so crazy. 100 million downloads on his podcast. And yet he has been very adamant about scheduling in playtime, vacations, travel, and then investing himself into different hobbies. He truly is one of like the quintessential examples of lifestyle design. It's a term that I used to frown upon, like lifestyle design. There is no lifestyle design. You just work your ass off every day and you're miserable. But that's not true. If we ask ourselves thoughtful questions about the work we're pursuing, why we're pursuing it, and especially why we might be trading our time for money, then that can lead to a very interesting life. This video is going to encapsulate my 5 favorite ideas from all of Tim Ferriss's works, but especially the 4-hour work week. And the first one, which is in reference to this question at the beginning, is definition. The importance of defining what you want to be doing or the reason you're pursuing certain things. He says this: for all of the most important things, the timing always sucks. Waiting for a good time to quit your job, the stars will never align and the traffic lights of life will never all be green at the same time. The universe doesn't conspire against you and it doesn't go out of the way to line up all the pins for you either. It just is. And so sometimes, despite things being imperfect or messy or, not perfectly ready, you should ask yourself, is this the right time to go for it or not? I very much was struggling with this question when quitting my job to pursue YouTube, and YouTube being like a micro representation of what I want to pursue with my life, which is filmmaking. Like I want to make a movie. And I always had this idea like, okay, when I get these things in a row, then I'll pursue this project. When my channel makes this much money per month, then I can start investing into traveling more or working on a short film. And oftentimes definition is very important with these questions because you have to ask yourself, what really am I waiting for? It's never going to feel perfect. And maybe now is the right time to wait. For instance, I am very glad that the 3 years that I did work a job while pursuing YouTube, I'm very, very glad that I kept the day job and I studied for the day job. I kept improving in it. And at the same time, when I finally took the plunge, I'm also glad that I did that. This brings me to the second idea, which is very closely related to this idea of definition of when to go, starting before you're even ready. And that's fear setting, the practice of fear setting. You ask yourself, if I did what I really want to do, what is the worst thing that could happen? And then say, okay, what if I accepted this worst fate? What can I do to mitigate against this? And he lays out all of these questions you can ask yourself very beautifully. It's broken up into 1, defining the nightmare. Secondly, asking yourself what steps you could take to repair the damage. 3, asking yourself what are the outcomes or benefits of like more probable scenarios, because you're probably not going to encounter the worst possible scenario. So what benefits are you losing from the more probable scenarios? And then what is it costing you financially, emotionally, and physically by postponing action? And then if you work yourself through these questions, you'll often find that the answer is, oh, we should just go for it, or I should just do the thing. I remember a fantastic interview between Tim Ferriss and Peter Thiel, who's like this insanely successful like billionaire entrepreneur. And Peter Thiel says, if you have a 10-year goal, what you should genuinely do is ask yourself, how can I achieve this 10-year goal in 6 months? And you say, well, a 10-year goal in 6 months, that's impossible. What if someone put a gun to your head and asked you to achieve your 10-year goal in 6 months? Now, maybe you still would not achieve your 10-year goal, but you would definitely come up with very creative, very inventive solutions to your problems, because you'd say, oh, well, my life is on the line. When your life is on the line, it's a Fight Club moment. You have to achieve the thing, and it leads to a lot of creativity. This brings me to the third idea from Tim Ferriss, which I really like, which is don't chase happiness, chase excitement. In high school and beyond, I would have conversations with a lot of my friends. We'd be having like some deep conversations late into the night. They would say, I just want to find a career that makes me happy, or I just want to be happy in my life, through relationships and all that. And I found that I just couldn't think that way. It's like once you start thinking about how to become happy, I become more depressed than ever. It's like, happiness? That's just out of the question. What are you talking about? It's so hard to define when happiness is going to occur, and sometimes it can feel very elusive. But then I found that I can often look back and think, oh, when that was happening, I was happy. Oh, that was happiness back then. I just didn't realize it at the time because I was so busy doing what I was doing. And then you realize, oh, I was happy. So I find Tim Ferriss's solution to this problem of finding happiness really useful. It's like, don't chase happiness, chase excitement. But don't ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? Like, what should I achieve by this date? Ask yourself, what would excite me? Like, in the next 6 to 12 months, what could you reasonably accomplish, you think, that would excite you? Like, what could you do to make something to look forward to? And you put that into place, all of a sudden life has more meaning, excitement, optimism, and then you find that in the process, you were happy. You found happiness. It's like, as kids, we loved video games. I loved Pokemon because there was always this sense of you're working towards something. You're leveling up your Pokemon. You're going to get a Tyranitar one day. It's going to be awesome. And then once you actually beat the game, you're like walking around Mount Silver with nothing to do. And you're like, oh my God, I'm sad. There's nothing to do here. There's nothing to look forward to. It's that looking forward to things, that excitement of what's to come. And as kids, we always had something that we were looking forward to, which is why maybe our childhoods were, often more happy and less confusing than they are now. So bring that back, like focus on excitement, and theoretically, happiness will take care of itself. Not everyone would agree with this idea, but I have found it very useful in my own life. The fourth idea that I learned from Tim Ferriss is dreamlining. Dreamlining is a great way to pursue goals, shifting them from being ambiguous to defining them more clearly. And what's interesting about how Tim Ferriss kind of phrases this is that the dreams have to be unrealistic. That, in a way, is what kicks in the excitement. It focuses on activities that will fill the vacuum created when work is removed. Living like a millionaire requires doing interesting things and not just owning enviable things. This is directly from his book. So the questions to ask yourself: what would you do if there was no way you could fail? And then what would you do if you were 10 times smarter than the rest of the world? So you assume the role of like this Ubermensch, and now you get to pursue whatever you want to pursue. And dreamlining works in 6-month or 12-month long timelines. You list up to 5 things you dream of having, being, and doing in that order within the next 6 months. And a question that's useful in regard to this, so that you're not just focusing on material goods gained, is what would I do day to day if I had $100 million in the bank? Money was of no concern. Because once again, the focus is on excitement, feeling excited about life, not just getting things. We can so easily think that the goals we want to achieve are getting things, when what we really want to focus on is excitement. And so simply asking yourself these questions, creating unrealistic goals, and sort of creating a defined plan around those goals, asking yourself, what is the next logical thing I can do for that 6-month or 12-month long goal, often that has nothing to do with money. It's a way of creating more excitement, of enabling a little bit of lifestyle design, and making sure you're not waiting for life to happen, while you're chasing what you want to chase. And the last idea from Tim Ferriss, it actually doesn't come from Tim Ferriss, it comes from Pareto, but he takes it to the next level because he really doesn't believe in the 8-hour work week. And so the last idea is Parkinson's law. A task will swell or contract depending on how much time you give yourself with it. You see it all the time with YouTube videos where you think, oh, I need a month to make this video. And then if you have to hit a deadline, you just end up doing it just out of necessity. And oftentimes I've found that the videos that I've been in a crunch to make within 2 days is just as good as the video that I spend a month making. Especially with the comedy videos. Sometimes the comedy videos I've made in a pinch have been way funnier than the ones that I've meticulously thought out. He tells you to ask yourself, if you could only work 2 hours per day, what would you do? If someone put a gun to your head and forced you to stop doing 4 out of the 5 different time-consuming activities you do, what would you remove? When I asked myself this question, I didn't stop doing those 4 out of 5 things, but it became very useful to understand, oh, these are actually the most important things. These are the things I should be focusing on. And if I do the most important, that most important 1 out of 5, it actually makes the rest of my life so much easier. Before closing out the video, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, which is Masszymes by Bioptimizers. My friends over at Bioptimizers have put together a great deal for Masszymes, which is like an enzyme supplement that improves your digestion, reduces bloating, it can help you get a flatter stomach, stomach. Your body produces fewer enzymes as you age, so it becomes harder for your body to quickly digest and assimilate food. And so taking Masszymes can help fill those gaps. And this is an offer that is only good for the month of October. With this offer, you get a 30-day supply of Masszymes for free, and also their book, From Sick to Superhuman, which gives you the tools, tips, and techniques you need to become a superhuman version of yourself, biologically optimized for health, aesthetics, and performance. Both of these things are completely free. The 30-day bottle of Masszymes and the book. All you have to do is pay for shipping, which is just a couple of bucks. And there's no strings attached to this offer. It's not like you put in your credit card and you're gonna be put on for automatic renewals. There's no subscription that you're buying into. It's just this free offer for you to try out, aside from shipping, so that you can test out Bioptimizer's amazing products for yourself. It's sponsors like Bioptimizers that help us reinvest in the channel and make higher quality videos. So thank you, Bioptimizers, for sponsoring this video. Thank you all for watching. But with that being said, for those of us who pursue our goals, but also ask ourselves the question of how to make life meaningful day in and day out, to us I say greatness is coming. See you guys in the next one.